Hello, welcome to the Holy Cannoli Cooking Show. My name is Ron. I'm not a professional chef, but I love to cook and I love to eat. So today, my job is to make you happy and to make you hungry. All right, so we're gonna get started. Today, the first thing I'm gonna make is homemade whole wheat, whole grain bread. This is something I love to do. It's pretty simple. I'm gonna show you how easy it is to do. We basically have a few ingredients, but once we put it all together, you'll see how easy it is. It's great for you. It tastes great. You put some butter on it at the end. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll show you how easy this is. The first thing I've done is I've taken some yeast. I've taken one package of yeast and I put it in some warm water, and then I also put some sugar in there, and the sugar actually helps the yeast start to get all excited and get all frothy like that. And what you see how frothy that is, the yeast. If it doesn't get like that, if you put your yeast in something in warm water and it doesn't get foamy like that, your yeast is not working. So get some fresh yeast. It's very important to have fresh yeast. All right, so the first thing we do is we put our yeast mixture right in here in the bowl. Pop it in there. I got 1 1/4 cup of lukewarm water. You want to keep your ingredients. Well, I'm going to put it in here just to rinse out my rest of my yeast mixture. We got 1 1/4 cup of warm water. All right. Then I got 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. Put that in there. All right. Next, I have this is some 2% milk. You can use non-fat dried milk if you like as well. I just put some milk in there. Get that in there. Now we want to put a little bit of something in there to sweeten this up. And you know, you can still kind of be healthy, because you got to realize when you get your portion sizes, you're only dealing with certain sizes and it's not that much sugar in there. You can use regular sugar. I try to stay away from regular sugar if I can. So what I do is I put honey. I start with some honey. We're going to end up with about 1/4 cup of honey. I'm going to just squeeze some in there. And I also, what I do, and I mess around with this, to be honest with you. I make it a little different each time. I put honey sometimes, and I take some syrup. You can get maple syrup, or I just use the imitation. I put about an eighth. You want about 1/3 of a cup of total, and you can put, like I said, you can put brown sugar in there. I put brown sugar in there. I put a few other things in there. You just want to give it a little bit of sweetness to it. It's very important to get that sweet. All right, now we got that in there. Get that all excited. Everybody's going nuts in there. The yeast is still going good because we got everything is still warm. Our water was warm. Everything else was at room temperature. Then I got 100% whole wheat flour. I got 3 cups of regular flour, whole wheat flour, and then I'm going to put some bread flour in mixed with it. I'm going to put about 1 cup of bread flour. So it's pretty much, and you can sift this if you like. I've already kind of sifted this, and when you're making bread, it isn't as important to sift as it is if you're making real delicate cookies or something like that, but it's a good idea to sift your flour. So I got 4 cups of flour. That's bread flour, very important, bread flour, and it is 100% whole wheat regular flour. I'm going to add 1 1/4 teaspoon of salt to my flour, and I'm going to mix that all together. Get that all incorporated there together. You want to just mix it a little bit. And actually, as you mix your flour like this, a lot of times it's sifting it as well. So don't go nuts if you didn't sift your flour and think you messed everything up, because it's okay. Take it easy. It's all right. Don't panic. It's going to be all right. All right, we got all that together. Okay, now we got all of our wet ingredients. We got our dry ingredients. I'm going to add my flour and all my dry ingredients. This is a really simple mixture. All right, I got that in there. Now I also got about 1/4 to 1/3 cup of oatmeal. And like I said, I've added oatmeal. A lot of times I add sunflower seeds, and sometimes I take different types of, I got some wheat germ. This is, it just adds extra nutrition in there, extra fiber. It's about 1/4 cup of wheat germ. You can add walnuts to this. You can add raisins to this. I've made it with raisins, dates, if you want to sweeten it up even more. It's really good. And now what I want to do also is I'm going to keep my flour close by, because as we mix this together, especially when you're adding wet ingredients, that sometimes if you're adding extra honey or sweet ingredients, you got to remember you're going to have to add a little bit of flour to keep it firm. So as it's, you see it all coming together already. Look how nice it's coming together. So simple. So far, this has been very simple. I've just added, everyone's afraid. A lot of people are afraid, oh, I don't know how to make homemade bread. This is a simple recipe. I've just thrown everything in a bowl. I don't have a bread machine. I'm just mixing it all right in a bowl, right on the counter here. It's all coming together and nice. This is perfect. This is looking really good. You could already smell, you could smell the yeast. There's nothing like the smell of homemade bread. We're going to get it all together. See how it's all coming together? And if you have a machine, if you want to put it in a food processor and mix it in a food processor, you can do it as well. All right, now we got this all coming together. I'm going to dump this out on my table here, on my surface. We'll use that in a second. You bring this together, you want to start kneading it. Look how nice that came together so quickly. Oh yeah. And what you're wanting to do is you're wanting all the flour, it makes gluten is what it's doing. And the gluten's all coming together. You pick up all your loose pieces. Look how nice it is. You can oil your hands if you want to ahead of time. There's nothing like making bread. It's definitely homemade bread is a definite comfort food for a lot of people. Now it's come together in a ball real quickly. Look how easy that was. 6 or 7 ingredients. Yeah, you see the oatmeal in there? All right, now we got it into a ball, and what we're going to do is we're going to let this, I'm going to put it right back in the same bowl I mixed it in. I'm going to get some oil. I'm going to put it around my bowl. Just going to put that in there. I'm going to take this dough and stick it right here in the bowl. Put it in the bowl, coat it with the oil. We're going to put it in there. We're going to let this rest and rise. Very important to let it rise. We're going to let this rise for about an hour. I'm going to put it over here in the back here. We're going to cover it. You want it in a warm place. Don't leave it under the AC vent. You want it in a warm place if you can. It really helps it to rise. I did one a little earlier. It's right here. Look how nice it went from that to that. This has been rising for about an hour. And the yeast just takes over. You keep it covered, keep it warm. What you want to do is punch this down. Yeah. See how nice that is? Bring it all together. This is very simple. This is a very simple recipe. We're going to put this out on our table here. We're going to get a little bit of flour. There we go. Ooh, making a little mess. We're going to knead it again. Get your kids to help you too. This is fun. I do this a lot with my son and my daughters. We just get together and they always want to help, and you mix it together. Look at and see how nice and elastic the dough has gotten. It's done all this on its own. It's very simple to. Don't be afraid to try making homemade bread. The taste is out of this world. You can't buy anything like this in the store. Trust me. The cost is very low. It's very simple to make. All right, we got this once again into the shape, and now what we're going to do is we're going to roll it into a loaf shape. Get it in the shape of a loaf, and I got a loaf pan over here behind me. We got this. There we go. I have a loaf pan here, and I'm going to get some paper towel. I'm going to grease. There's all different ways to do this. I just take a paper towel. I take some shortening. You can use butter. You can use oil. I found this to be the best. I just take some shortening. I coat the pan. Don't go too crazy with the stuff. You don't need too much oil. You just want something that's not going to keep it from sticking. You can flour this if you like. I've done it both ways. Pretty much, it's not going to stick on you either way. You coat it with some oil. Then what you're going to do is you take it, you transfer it from here right into the loaf pan. Look at that, huh? Nice. Now what we're going to do is we're going to let this rest and rise one more time. This is the second rising. It's very important. It's a very important step in the rising. That's really all you do. You just knead it together, put it back here. So we're going to take this again. We're going to put this in a warm place. We're going to let this rise. for about an hour. We'll take a cover. This is going to rise to a little bit above the rim. As soon as it goes above the rim, we're going to pop it in the oven, and you'll see how it just comes together. It actually continues to rise even in the oven. So we're going to let this rise, let it rest.